If you're looking into playing the One Piece trading card game, now is a great time to get into the game. A new starter deck releasing, Starter Deck 21. If this is your first starter deck, this is actually one of the more premium starter decks that they've had. Not only do you get an entire pre-made deck centered around Gear 5 Luffy, right? A unique leader that you can only buy within this product, but you get the essentials of what you need in order to play the game. An entire pre-made 50 card deck ready to play right now. A set of 10 Dawn cards come in every single starter deck, and this starter deck specifically comes with two cool things. A set of sleeves to be able to sleeve up your cards, and then also a booster pack with alternates. Editor, please let everybody know that I actually don't have a booster pack because I made a deal with my friend and got this cheaper because I gave him the booster pack. Luffy's leader effect, right? Give up to 2 rested Dawn to one of your characters. Is great to give you up to a 12 Dawn turn. The 5-cost Luffy in here is just a great card. It's just generically a good card that's played in a ton of decks. The Zoro gets a lot of attention, right? Another great card. There's some great 2Ks in here. The Sanji is really good. Bonnie's gonna be nice to draw a little bit. Some efficient vanillas that we can use. Some blockers. I do love me some blockers. Ooh, this Nami's actually not that bad, right? Giving a Straw Hat character some rested Dawn. The Robin, a nice when attacking effect. Ooh, Frankie giving power-ups to everybody. Brooke with a nice effect as well. Gum Gum Dawn Whip, very, very good to go for game. You are a little bit more of a rush deck, an aggressive build. And then Gum Gum Mole Pistol, also a really, really good card, especially combating different decks and their removal. So what if I went to a local tournament, right? A box tournament that is pretty competitive, I would say, here in Las Vegas. And can I actually get wins straight out of the box with this exact set of 50 cards? Let's see if we can do it. Okay, so round one we hit Doflamingo, Richie playing Doflamingo. He's been playing this deck for months. It's definitely a tough matchup, right? Anything that has some sort of swarm can be a problem, especially when they have removal that's really, really good, like Trafalgar Law. Now, cheating out the bodies, right? We can both kind of cheat out bodies in a way. I use a swarm of characters on the field. He ends up using leader effect, but the fact that his characters that he can swarm out are like 5,000, 6,000, and all my characters are like 3,000, 4,000 is just like, once my characters swing, they're dead. And it takes a lot to actually get back up to him. But there was definitely a turn that I misplayed where I should have gone at face and really pressured game, right? Because I do play some impactful triggers in my deck, so it could have maybe caused him to like go for board or something like that. But instead I went at different characters when I was only swinging like 6 and 7, so it provided a lot less for him to give me in order to go into it. I think I was still in trouble, like no matter what route I went. I might have been able to get him down to like 2 life, but I don't know if I would have been able to win in the following turn unless he went for game after that and then messed up the math or something. But, you know, Richie's a good player. He's got multiple tops and stuff like that. He's not going to do that. Anyways, on to round 2. Okay, so second round, we ended up losing to Katakuri. So that's, again, I mean, all of the matchups are difficult. I'm probably going to say this all night, but especially with all the burn life that they have now with the Kikunojos, right, with the Robins, alongside the 10 moms. If they just have the 10 moms, then they're good. I had an incredible start, I feel like. I had like an insane start, being able to play a couple characters down early, right? One of them being Bonnie, Jinbei, and then drawing off of that Bonnie, right? Which is huge and valuable, especially in the early game. I'm not going to counter a leader swing at the Bonnie, but then going into like the Rush Luffy, you know, getting the Rush Zoro later, I felt really, really good, especially because they kept feeding me cards. right? They kept feeding me all the cards in their hand. But especially with the very valuable, KO my Luffy, I can't even get a chance to like counter with it moment is huge for that deck, because then the Luffy doesn't stay alive. But typical with red decks, like if you play Zoro into Katakuri or a Nell or something like that, red just naturally doesn't have a lot of draw. And so like you just run out of cards at the end of the game. And that's exactly what happened, right? Especially when they're playing down 10 drop Linlin in consecutive turns to be able to just KO, or not KO life, but burn life constantly and put me on a clock, really. Nothing I can really do about that. They could have had the win a turn earlier than they did, and I was like, oh, maybe that gives me a chance to win, but it definitely sucks. I definitely made like a misplay where I thought Nami could accelerate Dawn to the Senamaru, but then I remembered that the Senamaru is Egghead Navy. It's not a Straw Hat, so unfortunate, but we'll move on. Okay, so after getting the bye, which I ended up winning technically, I did get a win on the day, but played against Red Purple Luffy. This is a guy, one of our locals, that got top 64 at One Piece Day Dallas last week with the same deck. Like, he's so good. And I think I was actually doing like really, really well. I got him down to like a really low hand size. Like I swung 7 at his 6K leader, and he used the Gum Gum Jet Gatling like 0 cost event, which was really, really nice and a really good sign. The problem was that he played 2 consecutive 7-drop Sanjis. The 7-drop Sanjis, immediately resting characters, KOing characters, put out a blocker at the end, the Sentomaru. He was able to not only rest it, right, so all of his swings could get through without any blocks, but also the one character that rests something but also gets to swing was just another swing that I had to worry about. And there's nothing I can do on that. I felt pretty good, honestly, if I got out of that turn, right? Because if it was like any other rush card, like the 9 cost Luffy, I felt like I could have actually survived in the turn. But because it was specifically Sanji and he found 2 of them with only 1 Nami Searcher, I was like, oh my gosh. And he had only taken like, I think he had taken 2 life in total because he healed 1 with the 9-drop Linlin. The 9-drop Linlin was also tough because like I lost out on the Brook, which is really huge, and getting like Rested Dawn everywhere. So it was really, really close. Round, I think I played it pretty all right, but we'll see. I don't know if there's another round or not, but you guys will find out in like 10 seconds. So unfortunately, we couldn't collect the win this time around over at Locals, at least not a legitimate one. But a lot of times that's kind of what happens when you buy a starter deck, right? A lot of card games. I think Pokemon is like the only one that I can really think of where if you just buy a starter deck, you can probably win a couple different matches because the products are just that good. But if you're looking to get into the game and want to buy a starter deck, it's still really valuable, right? I kind of talked about a little bit earlier, the 5-drop Luffy, the 4-drop Zoro, the Sanji, that's a 2K, also the Gum Gum Bull Pistol, I think it's called off the top of my head. All of those are really good cards that you're going to see in a couple different decks in the upcoming format the longer that you play, right? But thank you again so much for watching, and thank you to Crossing Collectibles for allowing me to join and honestly do the challenge a little bit early. It's actually recording this before the release of Starter Deck 21. I got my decks a little bit earlier from my friend, but it was like the last locals that I could do for a little bit. So I was like, hey, is it all right if I just bring it in? I'm playing a starter deck, right? Like Pedro and the guys over there are always really, really nice. Let me know what starter deck you want to see me try out in the future. I've got a couple different ideas on this on the horizon, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thank you.